Okay, mate. So here we are today. First episode of Dirty Money Mindset with Alexander Steele. Alexander is the AIBF's Irish Sports Entrepreneur of 2024, a well-earned title by a man who basically lived and breathed football, essentially, for his career, and then established multiple business avenues as a consequence of that. So basically, Alex, I would like to go back to where it all started. So like we can just get a kind of bare basis as to what was your childhood like. So whenever you were growing up, how did you kind of feel
Well, as a kid, I mean, I was
as a
just
kid? Yeah,
a typical lad, a bit like yourself, Craig. We have a lot of energy. I sort
yeah,
of focused all that into sports.
yeah,
School wise, I didn't really, I wasn't a great student, to be honest. I was probably more disruptive in what I was there to learn. But like the whole way throughout my childhood, really everything was based around sports and being competitive.
yeah.
And yeah, that was really where I found my confidence. So yeah,
What
that's something that I
was
brought
it?
into
Was it
adulthood.
always football? Was there
No,
other
no, no.
sports?
It was everything. I played cricket since the age of 8. We would
Yeah,
play if Wimbledon was on the TV, we'd be playing tennis out the
tennis.
front. If the golf was on, we'd be playing golf. And then football was really just we grew up 60 seconds away from Carrick Rangers ground, so
Yeah,
that was my first team and my first love. So those
and you
guys were
played
the ones who
for.
inspired.
You were playing for Carrick Rangers basically the guts of your entire career. Did you ever play for any other teams or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, went through St Andrews Boys, which was like a sort of an elite junior club, and
Yeah,
then moved on to Dungoyne and finished off. I was at Glentoran and Glenavon after that.
yeah.
Um, Went
And
back in the
obviously
forwards.
you're a goalkeeper.
Yeah, mate. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Well, I tried to play out, but I wasn't any good. So I was man
same,
enough to do nets, and
same.
then
Mate.
yeah, Carrick Rangers is my team. So my first job was a ball boy at the ground, and yeah, I ended up making it to the first team, and it was great times. Learned a lot. Again, a lot of what I learned in sports, bring it into the business world. It's the transition that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. See, whenever I think about what I remember of you back in the day, you were always that guy that everyone knew, everyone was talking to, and so whenever we kind of like start to look at your journey forward into like your young adulthood and you're now trying to find your place in the world, you can start to see how your key stake in the world is going to be like collaboration and communicating with different people and creating alliances or allegiance to people to kind of thrive through this funnel together. So, um, listen, it's one of those ones where like obviously a lot of people coming from like a sporting background have these different mindsets of like so discipline, showing up to training. It's something that we know a lot of kids kind of sit absent of nowadays because there's not as much team sports happening in communities. But when you look back at kind of like your sporting career and then how it's kind of like transferred into what is now your entrepreneurial career, do you see yourself constantly leaning in on the things that you used to do as a sportsman to what you do now as a businessman, or do you think that there's now become like a complete divided separation between those two parts of your life?
Well, I'm a firm believer. Like your life is like a book; you go through different chapters. I would
Mm,
like to think that it would be like a completely different person to what I was whenever I was playing football, and it was all about playing and training. And but again, the skills, or sorry, the mindset, such as having discipline, doing stuff you don't want to do, toughing it out, having a positive
mm,
attitude whenever things aren't going well, and then being grateful for whenever they are going well. To be honest, in football, I don't think I really took the time to appreciate whenever things were going really well. It was kind of
yeah,
on to the next one. Where I
yeah,
guess it's a human trait, isn't it? We kind of linger on the bad times instead of whenever the good times come, we're like, oh well, this is great, and then move on. Where like
yeah,
it's definitely mindset wise. As anybody who is young and watching this here, I would play sports as much as I can, and again, that's going to set you up for life.
I was just thinking there, just obviously when you were saying about, the things that you carry over, um, and kind of like whenever you look retrospectively at your life, you don't actually appreciate how good things were at the time. But now that you're older, I know that you had, say, recently you had like fancy cars, and it looks to me like you've kind of changed into someone that's less materialistic now. You've kind of taken a step away from the flesh, and you now want to say, my position or my part in life is different. So like, you used to obviously have a lot of nice cars, clothes, all that stuff. You would have been common to a hairstyle change now and again. But what's going on now? So skipping right back to the present day, what's going on with you now that this is no longer the things that we're seeing? There's obviously a change in the message that you're also putting out to people, and then we can probably step back when you let me know a bit about that to why you're now in Thailand.
Yeah. No, well, whenever we're brought up, especially in, I come from Carrickfergus, we were brought up where it was basically success was shown by having a nice car or
Mm,
having a big house, or we had our parents in our ear.
yeah,
You know,
get a
that
job.
was that was the big thing. Get some money, do something
Mm,
with your life. And I thought that the happiness was all around money and all around having possessions. It was just really, the older that I've got, it's working with great people on great
yeah,
projects, on things that, like, being excited to jump out of bed in the morning is better than going down or jumping out of bed to run and get into a nice car. You
yeah.
know,
I'm
if you
just. It just makes me think about like, what was it like last year? Was it you had posted on Instagram saying, "Is anyone available to collect a car from Dublin and bring it up for me?" It's like, and then now, obviously, I think did you just give it to your mom or something?
yeah.
The Porsche. Yeah,
There's listen. I mean, it's meaningless here. You
yeah,
know,
it is.
But here
It's an
and
interesting dynamic change, whenever people,
oh,
I feel like there's a journey that people go on, and eventually I feel like everyone comes around to this point where they're sitting in their nice car and they're going, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this is giving me as a return. It's not impressing anyone. And I thought it was here to impress me, but it's not. So,
well, you just nailed it there. What is it really? It is just to impress other people.
yeah,
Where it's not vital. The with experience comes, like, the journey is the most beautiful part.
yeah,
The driving of the car and all. Like, once you've had a sports car for 2 weeks, you're like, right, all right, it's just a car. But once
yeah,
you've built a relationship or you build a partnership, and like things like that, there, we're going through challenges together, collaborating together is way more rewarding, Craig, than anything.
yeah. So then, I suppose on that note, obviously you had some earlier business ventures, ones that have obviously seen great success and seen you through to your new opportunities today. But I know that we talked before about the sports technology company that you have, and
Yeah,
there was a lot of that journey where you went alone. I think what I like to do is almost, or what I would hope to do is kind of give people a bit more insight into how this entrepreneurial journey that some people might be looking to start into just isn't what they believe. And for some, honestly, it's almost like a situation where you actually don't even have what is required to begin the journey. It's not just as simple as like saying you want to do something and then showing up with hard work. Sometimes there can be capital issues. Sometimes there can be, for you, obviously, there was a large constraint around resource. You were a singular resource at the time and having to communicate with all parts of the world. But whenever you were starting that sports technology company, obviously, not many people really choose to go into technology and software. It's not something that sees a high success rate. But did you have any, like, so whenever you think about like what did I have at the start, did you have anything but just yourself and your ideas? Are you coming from, and I just think it's nicer to be have, if, I suppose people can benefit off of like transparency. I speak about my own business ventures and the fact that I came into a certain amount of money which kind of enabled, because you have to pay people, and if you want someone to build something, you got to pay them to build it. But with regards to that sports technology company, like what did you feel were like the pillars which allowed that to happen initially?
Well, quite simply, I got a job in a startup, and I was working with two founders, and we were
Mm-hmm.
putting together a bit of like a sports angle technology based product.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working with these two people, and then it dawned on me that they weren't special. Like I was always told, successful people, business people are special people. That was the
Yeah.
message that I had. That's kind of the message I had growing up.
Yeah.
But working with them two guys, then realizing, they're winging it here. Like it's just the same as this, and the same as this is all. Like as soon as we,
Yeah. So like today's problem, it for them, it's they're working it out just as well as you're working it out in that same time domain. Like they're not ahead of the curve more than you are, type thing.
they weren't very smart.
Okay.
That's I'm
And
not having a go.
is this like a university spin out type situation, or
No, this was a fully
not to name
fun.
names, but just
Oh, it was a fully funded tech product with big VC backing, and these two guys were just winging it, and I was bringing the innovation and the creativity to the product. So then the penny kind of dropped, where I was like, I actually have a really great product here. If we could make it in the same way as which I described it to the former company, and then basically what happened then was just old fashioned belief. I was like, I can actually do this myself. And then just kind of backing myself after that there, mate. That was kind of that's how it all came about from the start. I would never ever nobody in school, mate, I was not very good at school in
mhm.
regards to how can I put it, grades and whatever. I
You don't
like
have a degree,
no.
essentially. Yeah.
I like physical education and I like history. So whenever I was
Yep.
coming through school, they would say to you, "Oh well, here, get a trade or do something that the daft people do or the people who aren't
Mhm.
academic." But meeting them people is probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Getting that job.
And so was that literally like you're just applying for a job and you just so happen to get the job, um, based on a good interview type thing? But like I've heard of similar scenarios before where people have been VC backed businesses. Um, one that immediately comes to mind was like a velocity tracker and bar path tracker for like a barbell. So for like Olympic lifters, they can check the power and the pull power type thing. Um, and they were like VC backed. But they were like a university kind of spin out. You know, these kids at university had created this piece of technology or theory of technology, and then they were able to get capital investment against it. But do you feel that that's something that people can, like young people nowadays, regardless of how they're doing educationally, just if we just separate that for the moment, but they're
Yeah.
coming out of school and they want these types of opportunities. Do you think that that's something that is easily found, even back then? Whenever, so you obviously found this job opportunity, which kind of just honestly turned into gold, taught you things that you didn't know about yourself, and made you believe in yourself because consequently you started to see, I'm actually pretty good at this, like, and I'm pretty good at this way of working. But do you think that that opportunity is available to others, or do you feel that that was like a once in a lifetime scenario that sits there for very few?
Well, it's just if other people could have the realization that you don't have to work for somebody else. We're all
Mm,
brought through school to be nice workers and fall into line and pay our taxes. Where the
yeah,
reality is, if you have a passion for something and you can be useful to other people, well, then that's a recipe for success. And I'm not even talking about money success. I'm talking about waking up every
life.
morning passionate about what you do and feeling confident and feeling strong and feeling good.
Yeah,
Like whenever I was brought up, I remember getting a job in Tesco's was said that would be a good vocation to be in.
best job ever.
Like my family,
I've had that job.
my father, my uncles, my aunties all worked their whole lives for Tesco's. So like
Yeah,
I don't know, but this the thing is, right, in the entrepreneurial community, the one thing that I've noticed, it's like we're all the black sheep of our families.
yeah,
And this like the realization kind of hit me a couple of weeks ago. I was at a meeting where we're just talking about ideas, and people were telling me about the past and like what they're doing and what their family situation. And it really is just a certain type of person who makes a good entrepreneur. And it's not
Mm.
necessarily, somebody who would be academically smart or can remember, because a lot of them people are actually like, they're in prisons because they don't want to be wrong. Where
Yeah,
like,
they only know the inside of the box.
it's
They
like they're
haven't worked
scared
out
to
yet what's
fail.
outside the box yet. And I
It's like,
totally get that. I've spent obviously a vast majority of my lifetime and career in the constructs of full time employment. And it's one of those things. I truly think that it's the worst thing that ever can happen to you is to actually find yourself in a job. You get all of these creature comforts, and all of a sudden now it's 10 times harder to walk away from what you know is to be security. But as you can testify to, it's not security. It's a reduced value for your contributions. You're getting paid
completely.
maybe like one quarter of what you could be paid because someone else out there will value your service or value your abilities 10 times that amount.
Completely. Like, if everybody is, we're all sort of told to just fall in the line. And that's why
Yeah,
I probably go back to saying about the black sheep. Whenever I first met you, Craig, your personality was like an outstanding personality, if that makes sense. You
yeah,
know, so I would say that you're not ordinary, which would make you an exceptional entrepreneur. I'm sure the penny probably dropped with you similar to me, which was the belief and also just having a bit of faith in yourself.
yeah. I honestly never, I'll be honest, I never believed in myself. I knew I was always like a jack of all trades. I knew I had skills in everything. I always knew I was the guy that people could come to and go, Craig, what would you do with this? Or how would you fix this? So I always knew I had these skills, but I just never knew that they were valuable to someone else other than like say my family and my friends. Do you know?
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
and it took it took other people to kind of like genuinely like it was a tough love for me. It wasn't like someone just let me know, Craig, you could be more, you could do more. It was a tough love, and it was a lot of fight and resistance from me. But I think that's the conditional part. I was conditioned, as you said, to just work in that job, go there 37 and a half hours a week, pay those taxes. And like, don't get me wrong, we all pay taxes, but I'm just saying, like, you're conditioned to have it immediately removed from you with no leverage or no benefit from the government. So but that is like, I mean, if we look at like say society over the last say number of decades, whenever we started seeing obviously more women coming into the workforce, the government were basically doubling on their workforce, which means they're also doubling on the taxes that they take out of families, homes. Um, so yeah, it is a particularly topical economic conversation, but probably not one that we want to get into. But so like we've obviously so that business venture that you were involved in there obviously caused you a lot of headaches. It wasn't easy, and by the sounds of things, you found yourself kind of being the lead man in that particular trio. Um, which obviously, as I know from talking to you before, there was like sleepless nights and lots of conversations with like software developers and things in other parts of the world. But it obviously opened the biggest door of your life, I would assume, amongst all of your other business ventures at the time. That one, I assume, gave you the platform to say, I can be more adventurous now, and let's see what else I can get involved in. I know you're a really big fan of like cryptocurrency and stuff, but I know that you probably wouldn't suggest that to be like a business venture and more of just like a hobby investment type thing. But with regards to like where you're at today, I know that you've been in Thailand now maybe just under a year
Yeah.
in and about,
Yeah.
and obviously Thailand started off as just like what was a holiday. So someone said, "Mate, you need to come check this out. It's great out here." And I've had to that point, I've actually had so many people tell me about how I need to get out of here. And I keep saying like, listen, one day, and I say like, where would you go? And I'm like, would you go to Dubai? And they're like, no, not Dubai. Or would you go to Australia? It's like, no, Australia was 20 years ago. But everyone's saying Asia. Asia's the place to go. Um, And when you look at it, like say in recent years with like Formula One, and there was a track opened in like Singapore. Singapore is a mecca now for technology and entrepreneurs and millionaires and beyond. But what what has happened for you here? This kind of like shift, because this also kind of like correlates with that kind of materialism or materialistic mindset that you had and the shift there. So Thailand hasn't just become just a trip that has turned into say some opportunities in business. It's obviously partly shifted who you are. So like if we just go to, okay, you're in Belfast, and you know you've got your lovely daughter and your relationship at the time, and then obviously you know how does things pan out from that point to you now being in Thailand?
Well, honestly, I didn't plan to be here. I didn't in order to like do business or to
Mm-hmm.
really. I was just gonna
It's
come
just a holiday.
stand on the beach for a week.
Yeah,
It's random. I was actually moving to Lisbon in Portugal, and I
yeah.
got myself a place, got our company an office. Everything was gonna live the Lisbon life and live
And
European.
what's Lisbon for? What's Lisbon? Is Lisbon known for technology, software? Was that the business that you were trying to um, set up a headquarters there?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the same tech-based sort of format. Later, like the lessons that we've learned has been like within the sporting community. So it's been my job to try and be useful to sports teams. So that
Mm-hmm.
could be varying products from technology to alcohol to basically anything that's going to generate a bit of extra revenue and bring more people in. So
Yeah.
Lisbon, we had some business there with a couple of like
Just
Matt, I
their
suppose
leagues,
if you compare
their
them to
football
Irish
leagues. Yeah.
Premiership,
Yeah.
like in Portugal, like everything is Irish Premiership times 10.
Yeah.
So we just brought them across some of the results that we had previously and some of the methods, and we're really I just the main message to come away from this chat here is really all we were doing was going about and trying to be useful to people, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and
Yeah.
that
So
was in the
obviously
sport.
the tagline that I've gave you is that from our like conversation before is that professional middleman. I think you're the first person I've heard say that like by title. Like if I go to you, if I said to you, "Are you the CEO?" and you'd be like, "No, I'm just a professional middleman."
Well,
It's a different take on entrepreneurism. Like, but I think there's like different journeys of entrepreneurism. And I think the one you're kind of talking to is like life entrepreneurism. But I do love this kind of like self-claimed title of like professional middleman.
Well, it's true. It's listen in the same way possessions. A lot of entrepreneurs, their company becomes their identity, and it becomes sort
Mm.
of like their whole life. You know, whenever
It's who they're known for, yeah.
if you break it down to the basics, all you are is just really trying to work with interesting people and help them out. And
Mm.
generally, like, here in Asia, the market is humongous, like
Yeah.
absolutely humongous. And every day we come across products that basically do really well in the UK, and then they
Mm-hmm.
can do really well here just with more people. So
Mm-hmm.
in essence, it's just find the supplier, find the demand,
Mm-hmm.
stand in the middle, and then yeah, try and be useful and help make people money. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you know, that's what they're into. I'm more
Yeah.
into enjoying projects and
Yeah.
like going from project to project now. But
I
like,
know.
yeah,
But how,
that
whenever you say that, like I suppose people will be going, but how do you make sure that that makes money? So for every time you say like I'm here for the love of the business that we do and the relationships that we build, but I suppose no matter what, at the end of the day, you have to be making money,
correct.
and especially with these new projects, how are you then bringing that part of business back into it? So, say you meet a guy and the guy has a particular outlet and you're like, listen, I know people that can help you with products for that particular outlet. Um, initially it starts off as like, a relationship that you're just meeting someone for the first time and you're having that casual conversation. And next thing you know, it wants to expand into what is a really lucrative opportunity for both parties. But um, how is it that you're finding being able to create that like conversational dialogue or that relationship dialogue that still brings the hard hitting business part in? Like do you find that bit tricky, or do you just think, you know what, I'll be the nice guy and I'll let the lawyers write up the contracts type thing?
Well, mate, I just try to be myself, to be honest.
Mm.
Generally, any of the business that we've got over here has came to me.
Yeah.
Um, really, what exactly what you're doing right now, Craig? You're putting yourself out there, and when you put yourself out there, you're never going to fall flat in your face.
Yeah.
What I learned along the way was that, in regards to branding and in regards to marketing, um, bringing a product across, rebranding it, or working with a current brand, we
Mm-hmm.
are fully adaptable to do both. In regards to, like for instance, with this poaching we bring across from Ireland over to
Mm-hmm.
here, it was literally just asking a man at the bar, "Just sell this?" No, we don't. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty bad Irish bar if you don't sell this. And
Yeah.
then going back and finding the guys back home.
I'd actually I had to look it up. I had never heard of it, but then I'm not really a big whiskey drinker or like a gin drinker, so I mean, I've been to one of the distilleries and I've seen the process, but I just don't know what the byproducts are. But I think that's a really so. Would you want to? Is there parts of that business that you can kind of like tell people about? Because I think that's a very interesting thing, and it's obviously a big part of why you're still in Thailand. You know?
Well, yeah, what has took place has been we were able to get sales on one product, which is amazing because even for
Go back. You started. Went to the bar. Got talking to some boy.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
here
So like everything starts over a drink.
I literally, yeah, yeah, yeah. I literally went to the local Irish bar and asked a couple of questions on a night out one time, and
Yeah,
that led to importing from Ireland a week
yeah.
later. But
I
it's
suppose
and
the other thing is you were already working with distilleries. You know, it wasn't so unique, but it was also a case of like a conversation just led into, oh, I can help you there. So back to the professional middleman, like I can do something with you there. But yeah, I just think that's a great story because to me, it's like this particular holiday to Thailand and then the opportunities that have derived from it. I think it's a testament as to like how people should be approaching their everyday life. Look for and see the opportunities instead of just constantly being closed minded. Like who knows the next time someone's on their holiday and they just happen to have a conversation with a stranger and you just don't know what might come of it.
well, here, Craig, everybody's a businessman. Again, this is probably why I feel at home in Asia.
Mm.
Everybody is the black sheep in their family.
Yeah,
Everybody has their you could talk to any expat in any bar, any street corner, and he'll have an interesting story of how he landed in Phuket. I sat
yeah,
beside a professional poker player last week, and he was playing a cash game, and he had $200,000 in his account. He's sitting in the cafe beside me, having a chat, just chatting it through. You're like, you kind of attract these interesting people,
yeah.
and again, Asia is, if you have a successful product in Northern Ireland right now or a successful service, please get in contact because the market is humongous. I spent
Mm.
years trying to fight with like the boost revenue for the couple of thousand football fans on one of our apps or
Mm.
stuff like that there, where it's not even a fight here. If you have a
Mm.
great product, they want it. I'm not. And here, there it kind of falls into two categories. Health and fitness is humongous.
Mm.
Everybody here is either an
It's
MMA
like the
fighter.
yeah, it's like the retreat location as well for all of the wellness type stuff, isn't it?
Completely, mate. It's everywhere you turn. There's a wellness retreat, or there's an MMA gym, or there's a Muay Thai gym. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody is into the health, and then again, what is it? This is Thailand. There's another side to Thailand where if you want to be a degenerate and go to the pub every night and you want to get a
Yeah,
lady of the night, you can do that there. So we like to cater to both. So
yeah,
we have our health products, we have our alcohol products, and we
yeah.
have other things. We could probably spend an hour on the amount of projects that I'm actually working on at the moment, but it's all around the same basis, which is be
Bringing
valuable.
stuff to yeah, bringing stuff to Asia that people want because I suppose they kind of see it as the oh
That you hear me?
me,
Oh,
and
okay.
they probably see it as like the quality is a lot higher whenever you're sourcing it in than say if they were sourcing it in not locally but as we know, most products come from like China and stuff like that. There, they do come with the absence of like quality checks, or at least there's like this difference in like expected standard on the products that are received as well. Like when we go into the say city center and buy like I don't know pair of jeans, you're expecting a certain quality versus that of what you might get elsewhere. But I think
It's
it's
as
really
simple
interesting. Like
as
it's
they. Sorry, it's as
no
simple
good.
as they don't have it here, and it works for
Yeah.
us. So if it works for
Okay.
us, it's going to work everywhere.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Like it's so interesting to me, and as I said, it's starting to become oh it's a lot. I'm getting told a lot that I need to go. Like I would say on a weekly basis, someone says to me, "You need to get out to Asia," and I suppose to kind of talk more to the opportunities in like Asia specifically, like
Yeah.
you and I both have kids, obviously. How would you feel that that would look for, say, a family who are business orientated and have those types of opportunities just ready to go? How would you feel that that would be for like a family to move? Like I know you've had your daughter out there for like her little holidays and stuff like that, but say for example, with regards to like her own personal education, would you aspire for her to be out there being educated or
Absolutely. Listen,
yeah?
I'm very proud to come from Carrickfergus, and I'm not complaining about my upbringing or anything along them lines. If I had it, well, I do, and if you're a young family here, the life
Mm,
is just it's just different level. It's a lot more. I in the West, and I'm guilty of it at times myself. You give the kid the iPad and they go and play on the iPad for an hour, and you get a
yeah,
break for an hour. Where there is
100%.
none of that here. So there's like a big Eastern European community. So like every single day the kids will be on the beach or else they'll be, just going and having fun activities. And it
Mm,
doesn't cost an arm and a leg to go to the beach and buy a couple of waters and sit with your laptop if you have a bit of work to do, Craig, or if the missus got
yeah.
any work to do, and just like all there is like clear beaches. And again,
What's
education wise, our
yeah
education system is messed up. So over here,
yeah what used to be an amazing education in the UK and Ireland has now started to become stagnant. It's not so like I think many people would say it's not that it's became awful, but like what's changed? So you can guarantee that it's near enough the same structured syllabus that you and I had to go through. And the world's changed so much, so much. It's not going to be consistent with what we need to be teaching kids nowadays.
I always remember being in school and just going, why aren't you teaching us about money? Like, why,
I
why
know.
am I learning about algebra or why am I learning about geography? You
Did you
know,
learn how to write
what,
checks?
like,
That was the
I
only
feel that,
thing I have. I was taught how to write a check, and then see by the time I came out of school, checkbooks were gone. So like your education has failed you before you've even like left education.
but you see, a lot of people strap their ego to from their education. So I would have 50
Yeah,
year
one
old
hundred
women
percent.
tell me, oh, well, I've got a degree and whatnot, where I would
Mm,
actually rather bring my daughter out of school and like
mm,
teach her about life
mm. Yep,
because like, obviously meeting people and learning how to be part of a group is vitally important, but you can get that through
mm,
sports. And in
yep,
regards to, she would learn an awful lot more
yep.
being in an environment where it literally all of the stuff that she's tested on or taught is going to help her in her life.
Yeah, I feel like I know what you're saying. It's like if your basically pursuit is to set up your child to get a job and work in that job for the rest of her life or his or her life, then basically, yeah, the goal here is to get them a degree because they're going to need a degree to get through to the interview process, etc., etc. But if you have even an ounce of aspiration for your child to do something at all remotely different, and when we say that, like generally speaking, that's usually something that they love. That's something that they are passionate about. I know that my partner is like a creative. I know you and I would both look to creative people and think what a wonderful gift to have. I would love to be someone that is like creatively set and has these abilities and skills to just come up with like new things, rather than just be an expert in learning their things. But Yeah, I think kids nowadays are kind of being just set up for what I would say is failure to kind of like be anything more than just another link in the chain.
Well, it all comes down to it takes a set of balls to be yourself, you know,
Mm.
to
Yep.
really, really follow your
Say the things that
passions.
people don't want to hear.
Yeah, because there's more of them than what there is of us. So
Yeah.
whenever I first started my company, I'd have the girlfriend, the mum, the mother-in-law. Why don't you just get a proper job and settle down, son? But to
Mm.
me, like settling down is that means giving up on your dreams. And
But like,
you
was
know,
that because, say, at that particular time at the start, like money wasn't like, was that because money wasn't there? Like, as in, like you needed to get a job to bring in that stable wage, or I know those types of
no,
things normally like the butt of like some conversations with regards to like relationships and stuff. Whenever someone's basically not, I suppose, living by the bog standard norm, you need to have whatever 2.5 grand after tax coming in a month there so that we can get a mortgage. You know, it's like Jesus, like why do you want to even buy a house?
completely. No, I never really felt them restrictions. It never really came down to that. It was always just that's their say something along the
It's like
way
they
was
see
difficult.
they see you oh yeah, they see the
If
stress
something's
and the
difficult,
hardship.
their natural
Yep.
reaction is to, oh, listen, just get a normal job and you can just chill
Yeah.
out. Do you know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
it's just not for me, mate. And I have
Yeah.
to be honest with you, along the way, I know everybody talks about the grind and the bad times and all that. See, after about 5 years, it's actually the tough times are the best times. The
Mm.
ones where you're chilling. I think we discussed it about like the car and all earlier on. I've been sitting
Yeah.
in a Porsche. I've been sitting in a Porsche miserable. But I
Yeah.
mean, I've never been doing a project where I'm sitting there going, I'm miserable. If somebody says
Yeah.
no, well, if somebody says no to my product, well then, okay, no problem at all. There's plenty more fish in the sea.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's
I
like
think you
trying to
said it the
lose
other
the
day.
people.
The other day you were saying basically it's like you're so much happier in like the trenches and having problems to solve and being able to like work with people to solve those problems. Like I know you've spoke to me a lot about like us doing something together or us getting in on something together, and it's like you obviously thrive off of being able to build these relationships with people by going through these difficult times. I get this from my training. I like to train in like group dynamics rather than like go to the gym and train by myself because I like to get to the end of the hour and go, we done this together, we got through this. And that's like if I hit that every day, I'm like, oh, my day is ready to go now.
Well, mate, it's the same as you whenever you go out with your missus. You know, it's better to do it in pairs. It's better to do it in groups. It's
Yeah,
more fun. Life is more fun with others. Although,
yeah.
don't get me wrong, along the journey, along the way, has been a lot of normal
You
people
lose
would probably
people.
call would be lonely times. Do you
Mm.
know, you're sitting at
Yeah,
two o'clock in
you're
the
lonely,
morning,
but there's also like as you probably are aware, you lose people. I,
completely.
I can't
Ah,
tell you. I have a handful, probably about 5 people that I have been on the life journey with the whole time. Do you know?
yeah,
Everyone
well,
else
here.
is like I was actually going through. I'll tell you, it's funny. I was going through my Instagram the other day there, and I was just checking, you know, the people that I was following, and I was just like plugging curiosity just to see are they following me? Are they seeing like my stuff, my content, anything that I'm putting out there? There's so many people that I was following, but they weren't following me, and I was like, some of them I was like, I thought we were like good childhood friends. I thought there would have been an interest at least, or a shared interest in each other's lives, but there was quite a few. So it just shows
I
you, like even in my naive thinking, there's people out there literally detaching from me before I get detached from them, and it just I think it says a lot for everyone's journey in life. If socially you detach before you actually, I suppose, physically detach from people.
well, mate, it's again, you just outgrow other people. That's just the
Yeah,
nature of the beast. You know, there comes a point where you're like you don't want to talk about the last Man United match in the pub on a Sunday
yeah,
night. You want to
or the
be like,
weather.
right, like I'll meet you down at the gym at 6 and we'll do a workout tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
Like and then that stimulates you, and then from that there you meet your crowd.
yeah,
Yeah, and I would be the same as you. In fact. my two mentors, one's 74 and the other one's 78. I
Mm,
like to learn from people. I guess in Northern Ireland, we're taught really that if we're not talking all the time, well then we're boring or there's something
mm,
wrong. But
yep,
I promise you, if you get yourself a couple of mentors who are older and who have been in business for a long time, and it's far more interesting to learn from them guys than what it is to talk, you know?
yeah.
And
Do you find
it's like,
yourself, say, with big people that you would say have these types of like these strong business related conversations with? Do you find yourself that they have to like come to the party with certain, I suppose, experience or credentials? So I would assume that these two guys who are your kind of like main go-to mentors, they obviously were probably super successful, more successful than you, to the point where like you would feel that's where I need to grow to versus I'm doing something that they're not doing type thing. But
well, I
do you have
mean,
that, or do you find yourself willingly and openly interested in conversations from like the university spin out entrepreneur as much as you are about the successful kind of retiring, slowing down entrepreneur?
well, it's just kind of that's what God put in my path. I met these guys, and they're actually the two things that they have in common is that they were successful, and then they were unsuccessful, and then they were successful again. And like
Mm,
all the best, like in 2008, there was a housing crash. A lot of businesses, a lot of people were affected by it. Them two were the
mm,
same, and they were just talking like, I'm just learning about how to bounce back, how to pivot,
yeah,
how to like whenever them guys lost say millions of pounds in the housing crash,
yeah.
you know, they went through a horrific time. But so I got to sort of listen to it and and hear their actions before and
Mm.
after without having to go through the hardship.
Was this before or after, say, the lockdown period that we all went through?
After. So lockdown was
After,
our development phase.
yeah,
Um, a lot of time spent. Well, what were we doing, Craig? We were going for a run for an hour a day, and then you were
I
like,
know.
you
I
weren't
think
doing
it's really
much.
interesting to like talk to people who are like who were in basically business. Like if they weren't doing business, they weren't making money. You know, and there was no government support and stuff. So I think it's always interesting to just see what happened for a lot of people through that period. Because I feel like for a lot of people that it seemed entirely unnecessary as well.
Well, I think lockdown allowed us to everybody got to experience freedom for the first time in their lives. Now I know what you mean,
Mm,
not everybody,
yeah.
but like to have actual freedom where you can do whatever you want. You didn't have to be at your desk for 9 o'clock. You didn't have to
Mm.
be. You really didn't have to do too much.
There,
You were
I
left to your
suppose
own
there's
devices.
yeah, there's two sides to that because I know that there's people that, to your point, have kind of found that they've become entrepreneurs out of lockdown. I know that I personally, so when lockdown began and everyone wanted gym equipment, but everywhere was sold out. You couldn't get a set of dumbbells, kettlebells, anything, right? And I basically myself was looking for gym equipment at the time. I wanted to still train. Wasn't a big fan of running. Still not a big fan of running. But I actually got in touch with a supplier in China at the time, which was in part probably the most difficult part because obviously China was also quite heavily locked down as well. But I actually imported a full container, so I think it was a 12-foot container full of gym equipment. It was like £14,000 worth of gym equipment. Sold it. Only made about 4 grand, but the point there was is that I just was being helpful to kind of like the nature of what you do or what you see yourself as in the business world. I was just trying to be helpful. So by helping myself, I was also trying to help others. And it just came with the nature that, well, I also should probably make money for doing all the work. But that was an interesting period for lockdown. It's not something that I would continue on as a business venture after.
I think we all have these stories. I mean, it was kind of just more of an awakening, I would call it,
Mm.
which is well,
Some people
everything
got
we
lazy, some people got busy.
everybody. I mean, everything in the shop was is basically designed in China or in Asia,
Yeah.
and it's shipped across to Northern Ireland where we all buy it, we all do that. So then,
Mm-hmm.
why don't we do that?
Yeah,
It's the
reverse.
same. They're just
Yeah.
doing it on a large, like Primark or something. They're just doing it on a larger scale to what you were doing with the weights there, but it's all the
Yeah.
same. it's the same business. Like you had people who wanted it, you knew where to get it, and you went and got it, and then you made money.
But then I suppose then with Asia, do you feel like the economies are scaled better or more favorable one way? So I know that if we import from China to say Northern Ireland,
Yeah.
we obviously upsell it drastically. Like we increase the value of that particular product tenfold. Um, with your business that you're doing, where you're importing from Northern Ireland to Asia, how's that working out as a sale value to your product in Asia? Like, is it, what I'm saying is it expensive to buy products to live in Asia in certain, I suppose, industries, or is it all kind of just the same? One, it's all like for like prices. So like a tin of Coke back home is whatever, like 90p. A tin of Coke in parts of Asia, 90p.
90, it'll probably be about 90 baht, which is about 12p.
Right. So it's
But
seriously cheaper.
so, like for instance, if you're, it depends what market you're talking about. So, if we're
Yeah.
talking about sort of the drinks market, well, the
Yeah.
drinks market is a numbers game. So it's really
Okay.
getting your feet under the table and getting regular or distributors regularly selling your product every single week, week on, week
So
out.
volume.
Well, in the drinks game, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But and I mean for tech, at the minute we're building a platform, and for tech wise and stuff like that, there, like you'd be selling it into businesses. Really, it's going to be the same price as what you would like. There's no discount for
Yeah.
Asia.
So like
There's just more numbers.
service and products obviously are drastically different. Products in Asia are obviously what seems to be a lot cheaper. So for you to make good margin, you need to hit volume. Versus if you're in service, you can kind of hold a certain sale value or price value, and the volume can be, I suppose, not as high but consistent.
Yeah.
Is what
Well,
you're looking
here
for.
the main part about it is, mate. It's not for me to sit here or for us to like as middlemen to like worry about that. It really
Mm.
is just the
Supply and
demand is.
demand. Yeah,
Yeah, the demand is there. Here, this is the
yeah. So
supplier who's going to
you don't
supply it.
care what they sell for.
Not at all. I literally,
Do you
I
care
made.
what you buy for?
Well, yes, we went. There's
Is
a
but
there's the co-
is your I suppose is your purchase price before kind of partially dictated by the demand, the person that's buying it off you. Does that make sense?
well
So
again.
say we go to the distillery. Are you negotiating the purchase price from the distillery on behalf of the bar that's buying it, or what? How's that conversation going so that
Well,
they can
it's
sell it appropriately?
there's a cost to obviously make the product, and then after
Mm-hmm.
that, there it's down to, because I'm not going to turn around and tell one of my business partners here you should sell it for this amount.
Yeah.
He tells me the amount, tells me my percentage. I go back to the guys, and I tell them the price, I tell them my
Mm-hmm.
percentage, and then we all work it out, and then guys can sort of go and get on with it. This probably would come across and make my socials and stuff as if I'm doing like 100 different or different businesses, but really, what is it? It's introducing the supply to the demand, and then
Yeah.
holding key relationships with them. So if there's any dramas, give me a call. Or if we want to check in every week and we'll have a coffee on the beach, and we'll discuss how the sales are going, or any
Yeah.
sort of marketing campaigns that we can work on. But it gives a lot of freedom in regards to just using the same principle, finding products, marketing them all right, and then yeah, on the consultancy, sort of you're doing your consultancy as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's a lot of that. Just they're gonna want to form a partnership with yourself, and that's great
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
partnerships last long term.
Yeah. There's I think there's a lot of things in like the brokerage of like business knowledge. I think nowadays, I know that from my personal experience, there's so many like little successful businesses that are just operating and they haven't even really tapped into like websites and social marketing and all of these things. But it's amazing because you get like the older generation who are still in business, they're still doing great and they haven't had to leverage on any of like the Instagram, Facebook, or anything like that, ad campaigns, etc. But who knows? Their opportunities are infinite if they do
Well,
start to leverage that stuff.
it's bricks and mortar businesses are like, for instance, I'll use general merchants as an example. I
Mm.
know the owner of General Merchants. I congratulate them all the time. They don't do
Yeah.
a speck of, they don't do any social media really at all. They don't promote it, but the
Right
product
enough.
pretty
I
much
actually haven't seen anything, so
the,
that's a good
the,
point.
the, the product and the service that sells itself. If I come to
Yep.
Belfast, I'm eating in General Merchants every single morning.
Their locations are amazing. I
Yeah,
think there's one
but
opened up on the Antrim Road there. It's literally like 3 minutes away from me. Perfect.
But again, if they were to really, I've had a conversation, really delve into their business, their brand in regards to extra products, and
Yeah.
then moved it online and then did it the modern way, I believe their name would be big enough where if they had a cooking product or they had I don't want to give too
Like
much
a
away
special
here.
sauce. Yeah.
And because of the brand and because of the name, if they really did put their foot down to the ground and pushed it,
Yeah.
but again, they're very successful businessmen. I have massive respect for them. I'm not
Yeah.
telling them how to lead their life.
I think like for some businesses there is a known, what would you call it, like if they were to try and go like Coca-Cola mainstream, like blow it up type thing, people think less of them. So like that like small homegrown vibe is like the key thing. I'm sure there's a lot of businesses out there that have kind of went global scale, as you say, like, you could stick your brand on this, and this. And sometimes it could probably do a bit of damage to the brand representation. But, there's people that are very skilled in the industry of marketing and sales that can stop or prevent that kind of stuff happening anyway. Um, yeah,
Well, no risks, no reward, Craig.
I know,
You know
I
that them
know.
guys are obviously making a lot of dough and a lot of money. Sorry, and they're obviously very happy in their lives. But
Yeah,
it's just really an example. You've hit the nail on the head there. Like
there's no limit.
there literally is no limitation, and
Yeah.
it's like just trying to have your finger on the pulse. I mean, we did a deal on some Labubus. I don't know if you know
Yeah. Oh,
Labubu.
mate. Nightmare.
Honestly, mate, honestly, I couldn't believe it. Whenever I walked out, I was like, that was the most random bit of business I've ever done in my life over
Yeah.
Labubus.
When we were in
Flipping,
Greece, there was like we were up in the old town in Rhodes, and there was like, like there weren't stalls, but there were like shops. That you would see like when you go on holiday, the little shops that sell like the leather or the bracelets and things like that there. And there's these ones that have these Labubu things. But the kids actually love the fakes, because the fakes have like, say, the Supreme hoodies and, like all of these little like accessories or features that they didn't actually have on the originals. But those things are nuts. Those things come up. Those types of things come up all the time.
that's it.
Kids, these little things that like just spike as like a cultural takeover for kids happen all the time. Like, I'm sure you would be the same as me. I would love to be the person behind the next Labubu, the next matcha, all of these like products and all of these things that have just popped up and taken over. I remember the kids were doing the little elastic band bracelets. Like, how cheap is that product to source and supply? And it just took
Pennies.
off. Took off. Yeah, I think that's for like a lot of entrepreneurs, that's the one thing that we're all looking for. We all want that big thing that just sweeps the globe, and people get obsessed with it, and people pay like, some of them Labubus are 30 quid,
Yeah.
£30
Well,
for a wee doll.
we have the big ones here, and
Right.
they're going for £250.
Oh my goodness.
So
That's
like
mental.
over here in Asia, the cost price is a couple of pounds and it's astronomical.
I
But
know.
yeah, what you said there about like Supreme and all that, that's kind of
Ah,
something that we tapped on. But yeah, it was an interesting project to work on. We're still working on it, but it was more to link it to sort of cryptocurrency and its own coin and the
uh-huh.
NFTs and to try and sort of really innovate using all what we had rather than the doll itself.
See, as I said at the start, you are a guy that's into the crypto. Um, would you ever recommend? I know you do post saying like, get on this, get it bought. Um, but is it something that you think cryptocurrency should be recommended to the masses? I personally kind of followed the trend, jumped in, didn't really have much success with it, and then kind of like bottled it and just tried to withdraw. But by the time I had withdrew, there was a few quid lost, to say the least. But
Yeah.
I always do wonder, like, did I just do jump too early type thing?
Sorry, I need to put my charger on here. Yes, you did. But it's only because again, we go back to what we were talking about earlier on in regards to school.
Mm-hmm.
Why are schools not teaching about
Yeah,
cryptocurrency? Why are they not teaching about it? You know, what we're told is be safe, financially in life,
yeah,
just run. But then if we were to do that, we'd all be running about doing nothing. So, like with cryptocurrency, if you just look at the financial system and the financial setup, well,
yeah.
then it's a real no-brainer. For instance, like for me, I buy my daughter cryptocurrency every month because
That's her
specifically,
savings.
mate, she's 5 years old. By the time in 13 years' time, God knows what XRP could be worth. Like
Yeah,
a Bitcoin will be worth $1 million, no problem.
that's crazy. See, I obviously I put money away for my kids too. I'm thinking about, like, I have this. I always tell this story about how, like, I'm putting money away for my kids, and then on their 18th birthday, they'll get their money, and I'm like, because I have three kids, I'm going, I really hope they all do something different. So, like, I hope one goes traveling and disappears for a year and whatever, spends all the money, but gets all the experiences in life. I hope that one, and to be honest, I obviously don't really care what they do, but I hope that one maybe goes down that, like, really stereotypical, uses it for a deposit on a house or something like that, and whatever. But at least it's their journey, it's their decision, and then the other one just pisses it up a wall, just becomes like the king or queen of nightlife. Do you know what I mean?
Well, mate, that's the nature of the beast of being a father. You hope for the best, but I mean, my kids will be will be getting taught about finance, and they'll be getting
Yeah,
taught about being courteous and having
yeah,
having a good personality and being a good person. Because like,
yeah,
as cliche as it sounds, just being a good bloke gets you far in
yeah.
life. Just be a good
No,
bloke.
no, I agree, mate. Like, I always find, as you kind of said before, like, I've always been someone that loves a good chat. I love to speak to people, and I love to learn about other people and their journey and stuff like that. And it comes back around a million times. See, if I do feel that if I ever was in a situation where I had to, like, say, put my hand up and say, if anyone could help me, I would take the help. And I do feel confident that I would get lots of people reaching out in support in those moments. Um, so we're kind of coming up on the hour, and I know you're a busy man. I just wanted to maybe, like, end it with kind of looking at, I suppose, your journey in life. And, like, I know you've offered a few bits of advice to people, but this particular podcast with yourself is obviously around that, like, entrepreneurial journey. And I think your journey shows, like, the change in what you first thought was important with regards to, like, money and status versus where you are now. Is there anything that, like, kind of constantly comes to mind whenever, like, someone asks you, like, how did you do it? What was the key to your success? And I know you're very modest, and you won't sort of say that you're where you want to be financially and successfully, but if there was a young person came to you and said, where should I start, and what should I be looking to do in my life? Like, is there things that you would immediately go, right, listen, this is the first thing I think you need to go and do before you, like, close yourself off and go get that job type thing? Is there anything as
Yeah,
a message you would put out there?
just follow your passion. Just have a bit of faith in yourself. Really, on my journey so far, and by the way, it is pretty much as simple as enjoying every day.
Yeah.
That's a real realization. Everybody wants to get to the finish line,
Mm.
and if somebody was 18 years old and was coming out of school, and by the way, I do get people who ask me that question, like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And like it really is like if you enjoy doing sales, well then just find products that are useful to other people, and then you can
Yeah.
create a business through that. There, if you're passionate about technology or you're passionate about sports, you're going to find a way. That's the
Yeah.
cool bit. If it's meant for you, and you will find a way. And sometimes it'll feel like I remember walking. I had a balcony in Belfast, walking along the balcony with the head down, thinking this is the end of the world.
Yeah.
And in essence, that was just part of the story. And that's the beautiful element of it all. If I was starting off again, or anybody asked my advice, literally just do what you're passionate about. Because whenever you get out of bed in the morning, I promise you, it's easy to jump out whenever you're passionate about the project you're working on.
Yeah. No, that's good, mate. Like I do, as I said before, and I've always seen whenever I've been considering like creating this podcast, you were always someone that I had spoke to my partner about and spoke to my friends about. I was like, I need to get him on
Very
because
good.
that guy just doesn't have any limiting beliefs. Like he does not see any limits. And do you feel that? Do you recognize that in yourself? Like, do you every day you wake up and you're like, fuck, I don't have a no, or like a scenario where like this doesn't work type thing. I almost think like, did you always have it, or is it just like you've somehow been able to like train yourself to wake up and say, today's the day we go again and we might actually get this over the line. But I love that like message where it's like, enjoy the race, don't worry about the finish line.
Completely, mate. Completely. It's
Yeah.
like having childlike optimism. It's like, do you ever like you walk along with your 5-year-old and she sees a castle and she goes, "Wow, that's how we should be approaching life and approaching
Yeah.
business." I think a lot of business back home, it's like, well, you must say this. If
Yeah.
he says this back to you, well, then you say this. It's like
Yeah.
talking about like objection handling and all this nonsense. It's
Mm-hmm.
like we're not trying to trick anybody. We're wanting to work together so that
Yeah.
everybody
Everyone's wanting
does
to do the
well.
same thing. Everyone wants to make money, have a nice life, do little things and experiences and stuff. Like I know for me, like I just want to have a really good time. And I want to present or offer myself as a good person, a good supportive person that people can talk to and people can work with. And I think that's, for me, it makes me happiest. So I would honestly even go as far as to say, like, even if there was no money at the end of my journey or my tunnel, I would be happy. Do you know?
But here, there is a side, like, throughout the years, I do use, like, mental training,
Mm.
affirmations and good stuff. Because, like, to me, it's having the correct message in your head.
Yeah.
Because, like, if I wanted a reality check, I just ring my mum. She would tell me about everything I could be
Yeah.
terrible in the world or terrible in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like changing
There's,
that message.
and she's probably not the only one. Like, there's loads of people out there that want nothing more than to just pull you down. And
That's it.
I do see this quite a lot, to be honest with you. And I always just wonder, like, every time I just go, what's the benefit for that? Like, what are they going to gain from that? There's no financial success, there's no life success in trying to bring someone else's success to a close. So I just don't understand why people have the capacity to do it.
Well, what is success? Success is just happiness. It
Happiness,
doesn't
mate.
actually It just
100%.
doesn't actually matter. It's not. I promise you, mate. You're not going to look at your bank account one day, no matter how much money in it, and it's going to bring you as much happiness as chasing the dream, or walking along the beach with your daughter, or on an
100%.
adventure with your family. Nothing. There's no money
I
in the
love a
world can
holiday.
bring that.
Yeah. See, the only reason that money means anything to me personally is because it'll buy me that holiday.
Of course,
It'll
I
buy. Do
understand.
you know what I mean? That's the only tangible kind of control it has over my mindset, is that I can go relax somewhere with my family if I can pay that holiday price.
Well, here
And
I'm gonna let me. I want this to enter your head for the rest of your life.
right,
There is an abundance of money. There is unlimited. They're printing it right now. and
I
you
know.
and you are putting yourself out there and it will come to you, and that's how it works. There is no limitations, and it doesn't matter. I used to like watch these gurus. They were like, write down the amount of money you want to have and all that type of jazz. But yeah, it's infinite. Like, I
Do you
couldn't
do
tell you
that
a
yourself?
number.
Do you goal set like that? Do you write
i
goals down?
I used to, but
Yeah.
then I really found, like, I would be like a list guy because I was
Mm.
from the military days. You crack on with your list, but then
Yeah.
I always found um like, I was happiest whenever it was organized. Being
Yeah.
organized is actually like you're in control.
Sometimes I don't like to go too far ahead of myself. It it helps if I try to stay within reach of like my plans. So like I am very organized. Like if you see my calendar and how I schedule everything, I am super, super organized. I'm super productive. But I wouldn't have like a 5 year plan.
No,
I
and you
probably don't
shouldn't.
even have like a 1 year plan. Whenever we opened the studios, um we had like this plan for the first year of business. Every new business does this. It's like part of like your initial entrepreneurial journey where you do like your first year forecast and you put together your business plan, and it's generally speaking they do like a 2 year business plan. It's actually one of my biggest regrets because it immediately from the very first day everything stopped going to plan because I somehow thought that I was going to be able to have the foresight not only a week ahead, but like 2 years ahead. And what I've come to learn about business is that, as you kind of suggest, it's like enjoy the challenges of everyday business because those are the ones where you're going to grow and learn so much that see what you actually believe to be is the goal for the 2 years or 2 years from now. It's no longer a goal. You're already putting in the bricks and mortar to build whatever it is that goal is for 2 years by your day to day. And it's because of how you look to solve. So you probably find this yourself in certain business ventures. Like once you incur a problem, you immediately seek to fix it. But if you choose to fix it just so that it gets you by in that day, well, then that problem is going to come back up again. Whereas what we've done is try to solve the problems so that it's never a problem again. So whenever I think then, well, where will I be in 2 years? Well, I can say is I'll not have that problem because I fixed
Yeah.
it, you know?
Well, here, what you call problems, I call challenges. Challenges are what makes life.
Yeah, all
Life
the
without
same.
challenges is boring. But all just lie in bed, flicking around
Yeah,
social media.
all the
It
same.
goes back.
I suppose the one thing I dislike the most, and I probably lean on my partner for this, is people problems. I don't like people challenges. I don't like whenever people just make me feel like I have to say something that should kind of go unsaid. I don't know if you get that a lot. I hate that. I hate being in a situation where I actually have to black and white say it whenever there's nobody in the world that wouldn't know what way we should be conducting ourselves or what way we should be conducting business. But
Well,
that's
here, it's
also
what I
part of
call.
it.
It's very tiring in life not being
Ah,
yourself,
yeah,
being having courage, and because I mean, a lot of people you're going to meet along the way, they've all been like trained on what to say. If I say this, I'll get a positive reaction, or if where like
yeah,
meeting completely genuine people is the biggest plus.
yeah,
They're all collecting assets as human beings as well. Like, if you
I
find
know.
somebody who's authentic, who doesn't have ulterior motives, and just wants the best for you. Because
Yeah,
to me, that's a friendship. That's a partnership. I want the best
yeah,
for you. You want the best for me. Let's go and get on with our lives.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, be happy for each other. Um, okay, so I have this kind of goal with each of the podcasts as like a roundup to kind of the
Right.
close, and it's like a quick fire round, okay? So
Okay.
there's going to be roughly, I don't know, there's about 10 questions here, right? And it's just going to give people a kind of this or that scenario as to what your preferences are, okay? So the first one would be, would you rather read a business oriented book or listen to a business oriented podcast?
Podcast for
Okay,
sure.
good answer. What's the favorite place you've lived or worked from to date?
Well, I
It might
worked
be
from a
two,
place.
maybe two. It might be a case of you might have preferred one place to live, one place to work type thing. But is there like a particular location in the world that you're like, Jesus? I know a lot of people say like Miami, who are in businesses which are like global STEM, because of like the time differences.
Yeah.
Apparently, in Miami, you can basically be almost like 24/7 operational because their working day meets, say, Irish time. Their working day also meets other parts of America and stuff.
Yeah.
But is there a
No,
location that you're going, I want to be there all the time?
well, Nahorn Beach. That's already
I want to
heaven.
work on a
God, it's a
beach.
Nahorn Beach. there's a beautiful cafe called Rock Salt, and it overlooks
Right.
the water, and it has all my electrical needs in regards to plugs, and you can just
Internet.
sit and work from there. So you work for an hour, and then you go for a swim, and then you come back out,
what's
do a bit
what's
more
the
work.
uh what's the internet speed like?
Exceptional,
Solid.
exceptional speed. And
They knew what they were
although
doing.
to be honest, Lisbon in autumn is one of my favorite places in the world. But
Mm.
believe
I've
it or not,
never
Craig,
never heard of Lisbon as like a hub for business until you spoke about it to me about 6 months ago. Whenever you were telling me about it was actually probably around the time whenever you were going to Thailand, which was originally planned as a holiday, and then you kind of like up sticks on Lisbon. But I just never had thought of Lisbon as a hub for business.
well, I mean, I'll give a shout out to a couple of mates. Rory at Shirt in the Box and Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
Them two guys were involved in Irish football, and I get to know them. And it was really them guys who sort of pointed me in the direction of Portugal. Jamie mostly,
Yeah,
but I
because
was
that's
ready. I
fabrics.
was all in.
Yeah, Portugal's very well known for like fabrics and materials. Like a
It's
lot of like high quality clothing comes from Portugal, I believe.
and zero
Like
percent business tax as well helps.
it does.
It
Okay,
does.
next one. One thing that keeps you focused daily.
I just love this. You know, this is
I
not work.
love.
This is all play.
Yeah,
Talking to people on a day to day basis and waking up and having people email me about stuff is just a
yeah.
real
Do you have like
privilege.
a do you have like a working structure, or will you just turn it on and off depending on how your day flows?
Well, I have a PA and
Yeah,
she does a lot of stuff for me. So, like, it's not exactly like it was at the very beginning where I was doing everything.
yeah.
Now there's kind of just here,
A
have
team.
you, yeah, me and her just kind of collaborate on a day to day.
Yeah. Um, Tell us of a business failure that taught you the most. So you don't have to tell us that. I know sometimes there's sensitivity around the naming of the business or the nature of the business, but if you can just maybe like in some way tell us of like a business failure that you've had
Yeah.
that you thought, Jesus, I came out of that and I learned a lot. That was hard.
Well, along the way, you're going to try out a lot of different things, and we did. I tried with a business partner um, on a project, and
Mm,
it didn't work out. We basically tried to take the platform and whatever like the legal consequences are of that. But it's kind of one of them things. Not to sound cliche, but if you don't want to even be working with them people. So like if the business doesn't work, if you
yeah,
have the skill set to go again, you have the balls to go again, and you have the motivation to go again, well then
yeah,
it's what I said it earlier on in regards to a lot of entrepreneurs become attached and they attach their identity to the business, so they don't
mm,
want to relinquish. Or sometimes, if you've had a good run at it, you've made a couple of quid, there's a bit of dramatics, really getting out of a bad partnership taught me. Yeah,
yeah.
well, it's
You
more
want to work with
confidence thing.
someone. You want to work with people. You want to try and make sure that for your businesses to succeed, you need to be working with the right people with the right mindset that kind of aligns with you, because you know that that's, I suppose, the failure that you've hurt the most from is bad business partners, essentially.
Well, listen, mate, he could probably say the same about me. It's just the
Yeah,
nature of the beast.
yeah,
You didn't do this on a Thursday,
yeah,
or you didn't say that, or you didn't.
yeah.
It's one of them
Have you
things.
ever had
If
business with a partner, like as in like your like a girlfriend, or have you had business with them? And like, so I obviously have business with my partner, and
I saw that.
as long as I'm with her, which I have been for flipping ages. So it's not like I'm not going to be with her anytime soon, but I'm just speaking hypothetically. Like, whenever in that particular business relationship, we have to work it out. We have to make it work, because it has now a dotted line to our relationship. Whereas with a lot of like business relationships, you can just turn around and say, "Listen, this isn't working for us, and let's divvy this up and walk away," or "Do you want to buy me out?" type thing. But have you ever had any business with a partner?
But to be honest, I saw the dynamic you and your missus have is one that I admire a lot.
Yeah.
We both sort of have the similar drive, it seems. No, well, whenever I started off, I had a partner then, but she was a
Mm-hmm.
businesswoman herself, and
Mm.
really, she was looking for the
Yeah,
safety of the having the
you've
job, and
yeah, you've spoken to
like,
me about her before. She's like, you really respect her, don't you? Like, it's she
yeah,
obviously carried
love
herself
her to
and
bits.
conducted herself. Yeah,
Here, I learned a lot from business from her as well. It
yeah,
was just that you can call it, had the courage or stupid. So I believe in myself. So I would back
mm.
myself. Where
Hmm.
she's made tens of millions of pounds for other people, and then is
Hmm.
still getting paid the wage and still has to work
Yeah.
until she's 65.
Whereas
But
you're sitting there going like, you could just do this on a different scale by yourself, type.
under
I know,
completely, mate.
but that's the hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. And then, do you ever think to yourself like, what if everyone all of a sudden did turn entrepreneurial? Like, what happens to the economy? You know, the way the economy's built, unfortunately, is that there is all the workers, and the workers
That's
are
it.
also the consumers. And so, for the entrepreneurs that are selling products and services, we do need the workers and the consumers. You know, so
Yeah, it's
our
difficult.
message to people to go into business and self-employment as such, it's, I suppose, in some ways limited. We don't want everyone to, but we want the people that see, if you're, I always say to people, like, if you're sitting there and you are so unhappy with how your life is, what else have you got to lose? Like, there's only there to gain. And I wish I could have seen this years ago, Sam or Alex. I wish I could have done this years ago.
Yeah. But to be, it's you needed all the experiences from before in order to be the person you are right now.
Yeah,
You know, you have to experience clocking in at 9 a.m. And like, I worked in the civil service back in the day. I
yeah,
nearly died of caffeine poisoning like 3 days a week. You know, you have to experience the shit jobs, and then
yeah,
whenever you're in them jobs, you feel as if, well, I felt anyway, as if I didn't belong there.
yeah,
That's how I always felt in employment. I am the worst employee in the world. I'm the
yeah,
worst, and I was the worst student in school because, like, you know, if I'm not interested, well, then I'm not interested. Like,
yeah,
where that seems to be where I made a lot of entrepreneurs, and they're the exact same. They're
yeah.
the exact same. It's like
You
being
found
normal.
yourself being the black sheep all of a sudden, falling in with a group, and you're like, actually, we're pretty switched on. We're pretty normal.
Well, we're all the black sheep, and we've all been told our whole lives that we're doing our lives wrong. And
Mm,
we're sitting in the beach club and get picked up in a sports car and get
I
the
know,
Russian girlfriend on the go, you know.
I
But
know.
we're still told that we're wrong. Not that them things are massively important, but
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah. So the next one here is: do you have a motto or a mantra you live by? And I feel like you have probably a few. I know that like you would say quite a lot where you're like, you want to wake up excited type thing for life. But is there other like little things that you repeat? So you were saying there about like affirmations. Do you have like
Yeah.
something that you like repeat to yourself all the time?
Well, listen, if you tell yourself you are, like, I'm a runner. I'll go
Mm-hmm.
and do a run. I'm a successful businessman, and to me, like, a positive self message is vital. Like, whenever I
Mm-hmm.
wake up in the morning, I'm just grateful. And it sounds like
Yeah,
a cliche. All the boys down in Carrick will probably be taking the piss out of me for this one, but really, mate, it just comes from like being thankful. I'm sitting here in Asia and we're running some good business. I'm,
mm-hmm.
you know, I'm a happy man,
Yeah,
and yeah, like the motto wise. Well, I mean, we were all brought up with only fools and horses. He who dares wins. So,
yeah.
like, that's something that would I would still wheel out every now and then.
I would love to see you actually go on. It just made me click. I would love to see you go on to that SAS thing or something.
Oh well, here I
Just
was.
just one of those like TV shows. Not that you're, I know you're. It's not really your style. You're not here to become like socially famous or anything like that. There, but I think you would be actually really good on one of those types of shows. Like, see, even like if you think about like Big Brother back in the day, you would have been class on that. Class.
Well, well,
What was your
I
preference? Would you rather plan everything or go with the flow? I think I know the
oh
answer
my
to
word,
these.
go with the flow for sure. Like, what part of a business plan can you put? Go to an Irish pub
No,
and make sales. There's nowhere on the business plan for that.
I know. I think that's where me and you would both have the same message to people. Like, I would say to everyone, stop planning. It's going to be the end to your beginning. Every time I try to over plan, it halts my execution because as soon as you hit a problem or a challenge, as you would refer to it, you're like, you don't know how to pivot because you had everything piped into this plan, everything piped into this goal, and it just didn't work out.
But
Again,
here,
a lot of these questions
here's
will
a
answer themselves.
here's a reassuring thing. You
Yeah.
only need to be right one time. You
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
like if you knew you had to if you knew you had to kick, or like if you went to Thompson's whenever you were 20 years old and you were a single man and you get
Mm-hmm.
rejected by 99 women, but you went home with Miss Universe at the end, you would take the rejections along the way.
Oh, you would say that you were successful for sure. Just got a few more little quick
Yeah,
fire
of course,
questions
mate.
for
Go
you.
here.
So,
Ask, ask, ask
next
away,
one
mate.
is, what's your preference on city life or off the grid?
Oh, mate. Honestly,
Suppose it
I
does it
all my
change?
childhood, I thought Belfast City Centre was like the centre of the universe.
Yeah.
Or I keep mentioning Lisbon, mate. You need to go there as well. But
Yeah.
that's city life for Bangkok. But
Mm,
to be honest, mate, I'm happiest walking along the beach
yeah.
and just being off the grid, being able to
I
do my
suppose it
work. And
depends. Depends on what's going on at the time in your life, whether you want to be like in the city or you want to be off the grid as you are now, type thing.
brother, I'm telling you, whenever you come across here at the Asia with your kids, and
Yeah.
every morning it's spent at the beach, or
Yeah.
training, or Muay Thai, or
Mm,
I have to be honest with you, mate. It really is the
nothing beats
best
it.
life. It's the best life I've ever experienced.
So the next one then is, what's your preference, strength training or cardio?
Well, to be honest, mate, I got a bit of fever, dengue fever, while I was here in Asia. So I
Mm-hmm.
haven't really been able to do too much cardiovascular recently. But
Mm-hmm.
I was like I did triathlons and marathons.
Yeah.
I do like that sort of mental
Endurance.
challenge. Do you
Yeah.
know that endurance brings? I think it's like everybody in my town seems to like to run 10Ks or run marathons. I guess there's nothing better to do. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, like I think you learn an awful lot about yourself
Yeah.
whenever you're doing endurance.
I've recently bought a bike. I think I have like goals to do like an Ironman now.
Triathlon next for
I
you. I
know.
can see it in your future. Go and
I
smash it.
know. I done the marathon last year. I done the Barcelona marathon last year, and it was a horrific experience. But marathons are different. But I do like. I see people going out on the bikes, and I love that. Like that looks like a lot of fun. So I bought a bike there recently, and I'm gonna get into biking and see how we go. Eventually, hopefully, build up to like a
Congratulations,
triathlon. Um,
mate.
the
You
other
can
one
do it,
then,
no problem.
I know this is my thing, but I just like to tick boxes. So if someone says to me like, "Oh, have you never done a triathlon?" I'm like, "No." It's like, "Well, I am now. I need to tick a box. I need to be able to say I
And
did."
here, are you clipping in? Are you clipping onto your bike? Or are you
Yeah,
still
yeah,
free?
yeah, and
Yes,
that's I know it's funny. Nobody, unless you've got a bike, nobody really truly understands what that means. And
yeah,
basically, it's the fear of getting to a set of traffic lights and not being able to get out of the bike.
mate.
Um,
There was a couple of times on the way to Duncrew, I came off the
yeah,
thing, and you just go with the bike. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's some like all cyclists are a wee bit. It probably helps in business as well. You have to be a wee bit gone in
You
order to
know,
thrive.
part of me was thinking I might just buy like a set of pedals, where like one side you can just wear your normal trainers and then the other side has the cleats. But I'll just get used to it. It is so when I first went out on the bike and I clipped in, I didn't
Yeah.
have the cleats really tightened to my shoes, like didn't have them tight enough. So whenever I turned my foot to try and get out of the pedals, the cleat just turned. So I had to almost like really turn my knee in to get that extra bit of leverage to get the shoe out of the cleat, but or out of the pedal. But I'll get used to it. They're well
Well,
tightened up now.
really, for safety, if you feel more safe doing it, but I mean, it's more. You're going to get better results whenever you go and do
Yeah,
triathlon.
I
If
know
you're
when you're
clipped
locked
on.
in. Yeah, for
Because
sure.
I used to piss me off back in the day. I used to cycle from Carrickfergus to my job in Belfast,
Hmm.
and all the lads who were clipped in were all firing by me because I was wanting to be safe and whatever.
Yeah,
And then there's just something. I guess you get it whenever you're driving a motorbike as well. It's like a freedom because there's a risk involved. Does that make
yeah.
sense? It's like
It is.
if
It
I
is.
come
Yeah.
off this bike, I'm gone. You
Uh,
know,
I am prepared for
that's
it.
that's the sexy attractive element though.
It
We've just
is. It's
made
the
cycling.
risk and the reward. The next question then for you, and we're close. So we
Yeah,
are.
yeah, no worries, mate.
Is solo travel or group trip?
Right. So I solo traveled myself, and listen, you're going to learn an awful lot about yourself if you travel solo,
Yeah.
because and the as people, like, we're all brought up in school, aren't we? And we're all brought up in teams. We're all brought up in
Hmm.
communities where we're used to being surrounded with people. But there's something beautiful about being in a different country by yourself with complete strangers on a beach somewhere, or at a gathering where. Man, I was at a party last week and I was the only native English speaker. This was a
Yeah.
full. This was a full party, like,
Yeah.
and like, there was nothing organized in regards to me being there. Like 5 years ago, I didn't have this in my business plan, but
Mm.
there's like a beauty in meeting, having the balls, the bravery to befriend new people.
Yeah.
Because like, for
Just like showing up and hoping for the best because you don't really know how people are gonna interact with you or kind of receive you.
Well, sure. We were brought up, like, for instance, my missus and stuff, they're Russian. So, like, we were brought up that the Russians are the baddies. Like, they're
Mm.
bad people and they're all out to get you. So, see, whenever I first met them, whenever I first came here, I was a bit standoffish. As
Yeah.
in, like, fuck, well, here, I've been told that they're not good people. But
Yeah.
it turns out, if you say hello and you're a good bloke, they're good people as well.
Of
And
course, mate. I mean, how could you? It's funny how like the media can basically construct people's opinions of others. Like, so you obviously see a lot of like press in the media on, say, like countries like Russia, but I've never been. So how would I know? That's what I
it's
always think. I just
amazing,
think
mate.
like I don't know what it's like. I've not been. I'm supposed to assume that this media outlet is going to try and portray a happy story. That's not what the media is for. The media is not here for good news.
I can honestly tell you, just because they don't smile, it doesn't mean makes them bad people. And
Yeah,
like any business dealings or any social dealings,
yeah.
I've had nothing but positive experiences.
Just
And
focused.
yeah, well, here, listen, it's more like the mentality our grandparents would have had. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah, just get up
Like,
and get on.
but yeah, they're just real. Like, they're just good people. Even
Yeah.
like with the women and stuff, they're like the closest like we would get would be our grandparent generation.
Mm.
They're all
Okay.
very respectful and very traditional, and
Hmm.
they're unbelievably beautiful as well, which obviously helps.
Hmm. Um. Next one then is: would you be an early bird or a night owl?
Well, in Asia, night owl, because we're 6 hours. So if there's meetings or there's calls that have to be made,
Yeah,
generally,
it's all
like,
night.
I've had Zoom calls at 3 a.m. Like,
Yeah. What's you're 6 hours ahead basically, so you've kind of been forced to. But then normally or circumstantially, you would normally prefer to be like an early bird. Would you be up at like 6 a.m.? You know, have you ever heard of like the 5 a.m. club and all that?
well,
These like
that's a new
CEOs.
that's like a flipping identity now on the 5 a.m. club. But
I know.
me and my big brother Robert were doing the 5 a.m. runs back in the day. Whenever
Yeah.
we were playing football, and I was in the I haven't touched on it, but I spent a bit of time in the military as well.
Hmm.
Like that, getting
Do
up
you
early
think?
and getting it done.
Do you think as like a successful entrepreneur or someone that's in business, do you think there's good reason or good benefit from being someone that say gets up early in the morning and gets a start on everyone else type thing?
Well, yeah, and listen, it's business. How cool is it to be flexible? If
Mm.
you have a bit of business and he needs a call at 3 a.m. Well, then
Yeah,
he gets a call at 3 a.m. and then you need to sleep in the next day, because like
yeah,
sleep is vital to your health. It's their
yeah,
happiness. So like,
yeah.
ideally, like, I remember being in like the family structure dynamic where you put your kids to bed and then it's up to you. You can kind of
Yeah.
go to bed. But like, for many years, I would be in bed for like 9:30, 10 o'clock, up again at 5, and
Mm-hmm.
then you always had that feeling of self worth, don't you? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you do
Yeah.
your
So
morning
you
workout,
think you got
you
to
feel
be,
good.
yeah, but you also think there's like obviously that value in being like strongly flexible. So, okay, yes, it's nice to have that little 6 a.m. gym routine, but remember that business can be conducted at any time of the day. So you got to like flex when you need to flex and then prioritize sleep as a consequence of that.
Completely, mate. Your happiness and your sleep are, well, obviously your family's health and
Mm-hmm.
finances are the most important elements in life. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're an entrepreneur. You don't have a 9 to 5, so
No.
like, I understand. But if you come from a place where, right, I do my 5:30 a.m. workout and I feel awesome all day,
Mhm.
Well, then I would highly recommend you do that 5:30 workout every single day of
Every
your
day.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know? It's kind
Yeah.
of find what works for you.
Yeah. So next one, and we're nearly there. Beach or mountains?
Beach or mount. Oh, here.
As I said, you kind of
This
answered most of these throughout the
this
conversation.
is more this is more difficult to answer. I mean, I've had some of the greatest days of my life. Up the mountain peaks in South Wales and
Yeah.
Pennyfan and like the Mourne Mountains. I used to work for my birthday every day
Yeah.
or every year. Sorry.
Yeah.
I would scale Mournes. So I've
But
had some
obviously
of my
now
happiest
you're
days.
you're constantly kind of referencing like spending time on the beach, working on the beach, kids on the. So obviously right now, I feel like you're kind of leaning towards the beach.
Well, mate, it's 38 degrees outside.
I know.
I don't want to
Where
go
else are
hiking
we
in
gonna be?
38 degrees. And you should see the size of the snakes around here. I mean, it's not like going up in the mornings you bump into like a wee grander or something.
I
You've got
know.
flipping
I know.
anacondas and all.
I know.
So yes, I
Um,
would
I
far rather be
literally
sitting on the beach.
I woke up this morning there, and one of the videos that I woke up to this morning when I was scrolling was another snake had eaten a woman, and I was like, Jesus, don't know what it would feel like if I was just woke up and there's a snake eating me.
I know here.
And then
What do you do? How do you digest? You just kind of
so
hang about in there.
I don't, but they've obviously injected it with venom, so I suppose in some cases the snake could have you, what do they call it? Whenever you can't move, paralyzed, but
Paralyzed.
you're awake. So you can imagine being awake but paralyzed and the snakes just consuming you. Like, if talk about like ways to die, I think that's probably the worst one I've ever heard. I used
By
to think
far.
drowning sounded bad, but that sounds worse.
Well, mate,
And then
there.
last,
Listen,
go ahead.
it doesn't sound like it'd be the greatest way to
Either
go.
way,
Like here,
no.
I mean, it really is. Is there a great way to go? Oh, like,
Um, I used to whenever I was younger say that I always wanted to die like heroically. So, I'm young. I don't know what it was with me back in the day, but I used to say some crazy stuff. But some of the crazy stuff I used to say would be like, at 30 years old, that was me at half a life. Um, thinking that like the younger you die, the longer or the more you're likely to be remembered type thing. But then you start to get older and you think, well, I'm only going to be remembered for the things I've done. And if I shorten the time frame and the window of opportunity for the thing to show the things that I can do, then I'm not going to be remembered for much. So now it's like my mindset has kind of changed where I like want to live forever. But I would like if I had to go one way, it would be heroically. I don't want to die. This sounds so bleak, but I just don't want to die like on a hospital bed, that way. Um, with like natural causes, albeit, but just in any scenario where like I'm just like vegetated, I just don't want that. I don't want people to care for me, as in, I don't want people to have to like tiptoe around and come to my home and pick up for me and look after me. I don't want to be a liability, and I know that isn't the case for the people that are there, like your family and friends who are there looking after you. But couldn't think of anything worse, to be honest.
well, mate, there was a sorry. There was sometimes in Asia, right? I
Mm.
had a friend of mine about 2 months ago, and he was on a scooter,
Yeah.
and he pulled over to talk to me. He goes, "I came to this realization today." He goes, "Everywhere I travel in Asia, if I died there, it would make an awesome story. Everywhere I go." He
I'm
was
trying
like,
to I'm trying to think like how many times he's created a little storyline or scenario in his head where he's like, "Fuck, if I died here today, this would be a cracker." You know?
honestly, he goes, "Everywhere I visit, if I died, it'd be like fucking, you can make it into a movie."
I know. And here's hoping the royalties your
Listen,
family would get would be great.
well, here, we're going down a rabbit hole here, but there is I don't know if you remember the cricketer Shane Warne.
No, I've never really been into cricket, to be honest with you.
So
The thought
Shane
of
Warne
playing,
was,
I always used to think it was very strange that like cricket matches would be played and then you would have your dinner and then come back and finish.
yeah, you have your lunch.
Aye,
But
like
here, right,
so
Shane
random.
Warne,
Yep.
world famous cricketer, one of the greatest cricketers ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Shane Warne was a bit of a party boy. He liked
Right.
to smoke, he liked to drink, but he was amazing at cricket. And you know,
Right.
cricket it's not very taxing on the physical side. You know,
Hmm.
he was walking about 5 steps and throwing a ball. So he
Okay.
wasn't the fittest guy in the world.
Yeah.
But he came to Thailand and he, he died of a drug fueled sex heart attack. He was having a he was having a foursome
Right.
with three Thai ladies of the night, and
Maybe
that's
had
how he
like
went.
50 Viagra.
I can't speculate, but like he's like very famous. A lot of Australians will tell you that story.
Wouldn't it be class to just hear if he had like an idea of like a way to go? If he was like, tell you what, see if I die, let it be by sex heart attack.
That's right.
I want to have a heart attack while I'm having sex. I'd love to see what his thoughts were. By the sounds of things, he probably would have been dead on with it. He probably would have thought it
it,
was cracker idea.
it was the perfect ending for a star like him.
Yeah, I know. Like you think about like Ozzy Osbourne passing away there, and like for the life that Ozzy Osbourne lived, like a lot of these like rock and roll stars almost became like immortals in the sense where it looked like nothing could kill them, and then all of them are kind of just passing away of natural causes, and it's like, well, that's a bit of an anticlimax, isn't it?
That's it. They all get sober and clean. You
Yeah.
touched on it there. Listen, there's a lot to be said for like we're only here one time. Just go out in the absolute pit of glory.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and that's
Just don't.
that's the
It's always
life.
it's always with a caveat, like, but don't hurt or affect anyone else. Just
Look, mate.
live your
You,
life to the
you,
full, but just make sure that it doesn't. I always be very conscious. I just don't want anything that I do to hurt someone else. You know.
yeah, but here's the positive element though. You know, you have a beautiful wife and you've got a beautiful family and a beautiful life, and you're
Hmm.
pushing yourself and you're putting yourself out there,
Hmm.
mate. That congratulations on that. That for a
Yeah,
start. You know,
that's it.
we forget that to congratulate ourselves sometimes.
We do.
Like
We do.
that's I have a rule. If I get any business, you celebrate it, and it
Hmm.
might sound a wee bit like it doesn't sound
Which
like
is
the
actually,
healthiest.
I mean, that's old school. That that's ironically, it's actually a lot instilled in like Asian culture as well. But like like having a drink to like say, right, business done, good deal, let's have a drink. So like it's kind of like you've just got like an old school way.
Well, here it's my missus don't even drink. Sometimes
Orange
it is
juice,
just like I don't know, go for
a meal.
just celebrate in some
Yeah.
way, you know. And then
Recognize
it's
recognize and acknowledge what it is have you've just been able to close on or what you've been able to do. Yeah. I like
have a
that. I think that's good.
conversation about what we've just achieved for this day,
Yeah.
that we didn't have in our business plan that we made 5 years ago.
Yeah, get giddy about it. Be excited about it. Yeah.
It all comes back to that childlike. If we could all get back to
Does.
our childlike innocence,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know how proud your daughter is whenever she's done something that you've taught her before, and she runs to you
Absolutely.
and her
Yeah.
eyes are lighting up.
Absolutely.
That's the way I would recommend they approach our business dealings.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it. Last one, really boring one. Tea or coffee?
Oh man, I'm a coffee addict. My
Still?
mate my mate John started spiking me with decaf there a couple of
Right.
months ago, but I
It's
just
not
noticed
working.
it right away. No, it's not
I
doing it.
so I'm like a big Red Bull drinker, but I really tried to go on to like the sugar free, but I just can't do it. I
Mate,
I
it's
I would
all
need them
chemicals anyway.
I would need them to like put sugar free Red Bull in a actual original Red Bull tin so that I can at least get the placebo effect because otherwise I just think it's not hitting me.
Well, mate, I can picture you sitting in a business meeting, a suit on, espresso in hand, getting exactly what you require. Because
I've tried.
a lot of these deals in Portugal are done like at
Yeah.
dinner with everybody sort of
Oh
and
mate,
looking
I've
smart.
tried coffee, but it just it isn't ringing a note with me yet.
Mate,
I remember
I
one
don't know.
time Megan said to me, or Megan was trying to get me into coffee once because she loves coffee, and she basically tried. She was like, "I know, we'll just get you a shot of espresso, and you'll just drink the shot. That's as bad as it gets, and then from there you can dip into lattes, flat whites, whatever, right?" And I remember going into Starbucks, getting this shot of espresso, and trying to drink it, and it blew the fucking head off me. I couldn't drink it.
I bet it did.
it was so wild, mate. But I think that's made it even harder now to go back and try it again.
Well, I mean, it's just a part of my life. And
Yeah,
whenever you travel to Europe, like in Italy and Portugal, like coffee's
yeah,
life.
they love it. They do. They do.
They do have special Thai coffee here. I haven't tried it, but John was telling me it has like
Mm,
some hallucinogenic properties. So I got, they have this
herbal.
leaf over here called
Right.
kratom, and they put
Right.
it into their drinks, and basically it's hallucinogenic. So you'll see all these workers, and it basically makes, so all the taxi drivers
But like,
drink this,
yeah,
and it
but like
keeps them so they
Thailand's
can work.
really anti-drugs, aren't they?
Oh well, here this isn't a drug. This is a leaf.
Yeah, but
Basically,
like just
they put it in their
obviously just
water.
saying hallucinogenic, like it's not obviously it's not that like people in Thailand are like aware, like I suppose consumers of drugs. There, it's a really like drug-free country in a sense,
I mean,
like
you
regards to like the
wouldn't.
class A's.
Oh, here there's none of that. There's like
No,
you can do 10 years and stuff for possession, and
yeah,
really like there's not a night out or anything that's worth
yeah.
that.
That's what I'm saying.
But
It's like to give perspective to this leaf that's like a hallucinogenic. It's not to kind of like say that like people in Thailand are like into hallucinogenics and drugs because it's really not. Like they are very much
yeah,
anti-drug, aren't they?
well, this is like a natural remedy to stay awake.
Mm,
Perhaps their hallucinogenic would be the wrong term, but
yeah,
this would be like their coffee.
yeah,
You understand? But
yeah,
instead they put it into a big water bottle and they drink it, and
yeah.
it
It's
keeps
like a
them
little,
awake
it's
all
like
night.
a coffee version of a herbal tea or something, probably.
Pretty much, yeah. It's
Yeah,
just that we don't get it across in Ireland or in the UK.
there's business. Just see, all of a sudden we start seeing Royal Mail packages with leaves coming
Mate,
over from
here,
Thailand.
listen, don't. If we could do it, I think the people of UK would really enjoy it. But
I'd say so.
I think getting products from the UK to Asia, where the market's massive, would be more beneficial than us trying to
Mm,
bring a product back to tiny Northern Ireland.
yeah,
It
it sounds
defeats the
like it.
purpose, Craig.
Absolutely.
Do you know?
Expand.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. More numbers, more sales, and that's what we're in business for. Obviously, because that's how you
It
correlate
all works.
success. That's how it works, mate.
Well, listen, Alexander, that's us. That's been a good chat. And I think we'll probably likely do it again sometime. I think we've got a lot of good messages out there, and um, for anyone that's like listening in here, I know at the start there, you're kind of like very open to anyone that has ideas or business opportunities that they would like to reach out. Would you like to suggest that people could reach out to you on like say Instagram, social media type stuff, or
Yeah, for sure. Connect with me at Steeler number one on Instagram.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you have a product that's doing well in the
in Northern
UK and
Ireland?
Ireland,
Yeah.
well then it basically is just a stepping stone to coming into a bigger market.
Right.
And as again, we keep going back to the old adage: if it works in the UK and it works in Ireland, well then it works in Asia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
Almost
not
tenfold. Yeah.
it's not rocket science. I mean, there's millions, and I could go down a rabbit hole about it, but the market size is just so massive. And here,
Mm-hmm.
more importantly, you get to meet and work with some really interesting individuals that you would
Yeah.
never ever meet in Carrickfergus High Street. You know?
Listen, I really do. I really hope that a lot of people see this and actually do reach out and kind of, you don't lose anything by just like throwing an idea out there type thing. As we kind of alluded to, like you are one of the best professional middlemen that we probably have in close proximity to us. That is
Thank you.
probably also willing to actually listen to people. Because I know for a lot of people, business gets ahead of them and they no longer have ears to the people that are just trying to start off. They feel, I suppose, over busy type thing. But listen, that's been great. Thanks very much for coming on. And as I said, hopefully we'll do it again. It's
Yeah,
been
100%.
I love talking. I love talking to you, mate. To be honest with you, I love
I know,
talking to you.
maybe 2 hours.
I love going
I don't
down.
know where that 2 hours went.
I know at 1 hour I was like, right, we're probably going to wrap up, but I could sit and talk to you all day, to be honest. But it's just the shit we'd end up talking in between.
It's all right here. She can't understand a word of what we're saying. It's just sounding like na 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 na.
So you speaking Russian then, are you?
Oh, mate, here a
A wee bit.
a small amount, enough to be kind, enough to be to say hello and all that type of stuff.
It's all in the smile, mate. It's all in the smile.
Is that what it is? I just
It's
smile
all,
and nod,
doesn't matter
smile
what
and
you
nod.
say.
Everything's all right.
That's it. Like a very Thai way. Just smile and nod.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Oh no, here
Okay, mate.
we can't smile at them ones there. No.
No smile back.
Here,
All right.
that's how I don't know whether she's unhappy or if she's very happy.
Doesn't
That's
matter.
doesn't matter.
You're
Doesn't
happy.
matter. Get on with life.
Yeah. All right, mate. I'll leave you to it, and I hope you have a good
All
day.
right.
All right. Talk to you
Yeah,
soon.
take care, Craig. All the
Bye.
best, brother. Cheerio.